Now's the time I get to have a little bit of fun with the pots. I've got quite a few pots in the garden. I've got some terracotta pots and I've got some plastic PVC tubs as well. Now what's great about Thorndown paint is their colour spectrum is amazing, and even if you don't like any of the colours on here, because they're water based, you can actually mix them together and create a colour that you like. Now we've got some quite strong colours in the garden. We've got some really strong blue, we've got some limestone colour, and then we've got the rich dark colour of the wood. I want to kind of bring it all together and collectively bring it together by accenting a few colours. So I can paint these with some of the blues and some of the whites, but also Thorndown do a smaller tin, almost you know, it's bigger than a sample pot, but it's 750ml, and I've chosen two other different versions of greys, which will all link in with the raised beds. Recently I've just finished working with Alan Titchmarsh on a garden show, and I learned some top tips while I was there. One of them being, if you're going to use pots in your garden, go big. The bigger the pot, the easier and the more chance you have of keeping that plant alive. One, because there's enough food to sustain the plant, and number two is there's enough water in there so it won't dry out very quickly and you won't have to water it so much. The problem with that is big pots tend to be very expensive. So I've gone for a terracotta pot here. This one costs £5. But if you were to get a glazed version of that, it would cost you £15 to £20. And the reason why it's more expensive is because they last longer. And why do they last longer, the glazed ones? Is because unlike these, with the terracotta, if it's not sealed, water will get in there, and then at winter, when the water expands that's inside, it will blow and expand and the whole thing will collapse. So what we need to do is protect this terracotta pot, this open pored terracotta pot, by using Thorndown paint. So if you use this paint, it'll wrap it and seal it and make it almost watertight, so prevent frost from getting in there, which means you've saved yourself quite a lot of money. When painting onto plastics, you'll definitely need two coats. So this first coat, when it goes on, it's almost like an undercoat, and it flat and mats everything out, so then the top coat goes on a little bit more smoother. Now this is something I made for a craft show, and it's made out of barrel rings, and I created this sphere effect so that I could put it in a pot and things could climb through it. I actually really like the weathered look, and I like the rustic effect of it, but the problem is everything in my garden there's not much colour in the planting. It's all quite browns and greens, and it's just getting lost, so I want to celebrate it a little bit more. So I'm going to paint it with Thorndown paint and see how it turns out. First thing I'm going to do is give it a clean and get rid of any loose debris. Best thing to use on metal is a wire brush. When painting anything that's a little bit unstable, like a flaky wall or some flaky furniture, normally you would put a stabilising solution on there, and what that does, it gives it a flat base so things won't peel off afterwards. But what's interesting about Thorndown, that first coat that goes on, it almost feels like it's got a stabilising solution in it. So obviously this is a little bit rusty. We've cleaned it, but there might be some bits that come off. But this first layer that I put on will automatically just tie it all together, almost hold it together like glue. As you can see with this garden makeover, I've managed to use Thorndown on terracotta pots, on plastic pots, on metal and wood, but it doesn't need to stop there. You could use Thorndown to paint your UPVC windows, or even your front door, give your house a front door makeover.